Yo!
Lads,
We're back.
what's up?
It's been a while.
Life's so rad. Hear about the party after the show?
So I am doing this, I think? Yeah.
I know a guy who looks exactly like this in real life.
So it's
That
been
guy.
it's been a while since we played this game, 4 or 5 months. I wanted to do RE4, but also we got caught up in doing a billion Guitar Heroes, so that also ate up a lot of our time.
And Lifeline.
But we're back. Just to remind people what we're doing, we are doing hard mode, which is essentially New Game Plus. I'm at level 50 with all the materials and equipment and everything max. And you really need it for this hard mode. You could say it's hard.
Where's Jesse?
But at the end of last part, we basically finished this sector. I said in an earlier part that I'm not going to show off a lot of side quests because they are mostly filler and boring. But I will show the ones that are kind of interesting, and this is one of the interesting side quests, kind of. If it like results in like a fun like boss battle or something, which this fight really shows off how good Aeris is. Which, by the way, I'm saying Aeris, not Aerith.
Anyone who says Aerith is a weeb. I said it.
Even for weebs, I don't know. I never understood why the way that you pronounce it in Japanese is Aerisu.
Yeah, TH is S, right?
Yeah, and I don't understand why Su translate the TH in English. I'm sure it's like the official way, but I don't know.
Guess what? It doesn't. I mean, I don't know, it's weird because a lot of the older JRPG stuff, like if there's a translation, they don't do any, they just say, oh, whatever. But with Aerith, it's like, no!
Yeah. Although if I had my way, I would do this entire playthrough on this channel in Japanese, but I don't want to subjugate Spencer to that. Even though I do think that the Japanese dub is way better.
Oh.
Although I think that most of the main cast is pretty good. Cloud's performance reminds me like a little bit too much of like Advent Children Cloud, but it's still way less mopey.
I watch all anime subbed. No, dubbed. Sorry, dubbed. Every single one. I ain't reading. I have the subtitles on anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if I like, I don't know, if I had kids and I couldn't pay like 100% attention to something, then I'd probably watch it in dubs with subtitles. But I like to focus and enjoy it how it was meant to be. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to watch an English film in Japanese. No, I'm going to watch that in English. I just like the native language. Because there's no translation barriers or lost in meaning localization. That's just my philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
If I was watching a French film, I'd watch it in French.
Yeah, especially a lot of the European ones, like Netflix, French and German and whatever, like the English dubs are like non-native English speakers, so it makes it like even like worse.
Yeah.
Because it's not like Square, to get the English voice actors, were like, hey, let's get a Japanese person whose second language is English. Like, what? For the most part, I believe they just get people who it's their first language.
Yeah, and obviously the main development team for a game like this is in Japan.
Of course.
And they're, of course, doing in-house like Japanese like voice recording. But then they just hand off the game in development to Square Enix of America, and they'll do the localization there, they'll translate it, and they'll do their own in-house voice acting. But because you don't have like the tight control of the original director and the people behind the game having a specific vision for it, you can get some questionable quality, especially the company behind it if they want to be cheap out. But this game is not bad. I don't want to be turbo weebauer right now.
I just want to remind people that in 2020, this game came out in March, and I played it, and the very next game I played was Last of Us 2, which came out in May, I think. And I can't possibly think of two more opposite games. It's not like this game is like Guitaru Man, like, happy, but like everyone's very pretty.
Yeah. Even, like, we're talking to some 80-year-old woman, and she just has kind of, like, an anime look to her.
Well, not only that, but, like, you're in the slums, and it's slums, but it's still, like, pretty with vegetation and stuff, you know? And then you play Last of Us 2, and everyone's ugly on purpose. It's kind of like Neil Druckmann's soul. Ugly.
I want to watch Joel be beat with a golf club.
Hear that, Neil? Cleanse yourself, boy.
Oh, did you see the trailer for the new Last of Us show?
Yeah, it looks fine. I don't know. I mean,
I'm not gonna watch it.
Nate made a good point, because I was like, I don't get it, because Last of Us is already a movie, and he did make a good point. He's like, what about the people who, like, don't play games? And I was like, yeah, at least they get to experience the story. Like, the show isn't made for me. The show is made for people who, like, haven't played the game. One thing I always have a problem with is when people, like, are like, alright, this person's gonna be cast, like this made-up character is gonna be cast as a human, and people are always like, why don't you get insert person who looks closest to the person? And I'm like, that doesn't always work. Like, just because somebody looks like somebody doesn't mean they're good for the part. So, like, people were complaining about how Ellie looks different. I'm like, if she acts good, who cares? Like, what does it matter if they look exactly the same? Like, I don't know.
It's true.
It's like, they're like, oh, live-action Zelda, here's a bunch of female actresses with big ears. It's like, okay. You know? It's like, whatever, dude. Plus, with the magic of makeup and that technology and stuff, you can pretty much make anyone look like anything.
Yep. Although, sometimes you get the worst of both worlds, like the new Lord of the Rings show, where no one looks like who they're supposed to be, and it's bad.
I have not watched it. I never... Lord of the Rings is fine to me.
Lord of the Rings is just... Yeah, it's whatever.
Like, I never read the books. I read The Hobbit, and it was fine. The 3 movies, of course. Like, anyone who tells you they're not awesome is just being difficult on purpose. Because they're very, very well made. But, oh yeah, I like this boss.
So, it's been a while since I really played this game a lot. Like, when we were first doing it, I was, like, right off the heels of getting, like, just, like, playing this game over and over. I knew everything about it, but I'm rusty. I'm getting there, but we have to do potentially a really hard fight later in this part, so...
Let's go.
This fight isn't that bad.
I'll show you what I can do.
No. Alright, I'm not even going to say what I was laughing at, and you folks out there can deal with it. Yeah, Aeris is fantastic in this game.
Yeah, when you use Arcane Ward, you can use 2 spells at once. The second spell is half the power, but that's still absolutely ridiculously good.
One thing I will say is I very much enjoy how this is active time battle, but it pauses to, you know, let you choose your stuff.
Yes.
Which is the first game to do that. I think FF12 and 15 were, like, just full active, right? There wasn't, like, any, like, break or whatever. So I like how it's a nice in-between. It does make me sad that because of Western RPGs getting more popular, that we're never going to see a big AAA title, like a big AAA title with just standard turn-based. A lot of the stuff ends up being, like, Atlas-made stuff.
And Final Fantasy 16 looks like it's full-time. Like, not even like this, where you have, like, slight pauses.
Because at that point, it's an action game. I like it, like, my favorite battle system is FF10. Because that is legitimately, like, you can take your sweet time. There is no active part of it, you know? And,
Get it.
I like that. You know, like you can also set an older game like FF7 to wait, right? You can set it to where it'll stop and let you go in order. Is Octopath Traveler old school style?
Yes, it is. I don't know if you ever played Bravely Default, but it really reminds me of that, where it's like a return to classic turn-based, but with like a couple gimmicks. I don't know, modernizations.
That would be the one AAA title of the past, like, 5 years I can think of that does that style. And that's good.
It's hard to call Octopath AAA, but I guess, I mean, they sold at AAA price, so I guess.
Double A plus?
I guess so, yeah.
Believe it, you found one of our calling cards.
Because to me nowadays, with how crazy everything is, single A is like a game that's only released on PlayStation Network, usually for less than $20, right? Double A is something that gets a physical release that's not from limited run games, like a full physical release. Maybe Double A plus can be a game like that, or like Atlas or whatever.
Yeah,
and then Triple A, of course, is all the big crap.
Double A is like Atlas or like Arc System Works.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. You can honestly say that like XC localizations are probably like A games.
Yeah. I would say even getting a physical release at all takes it to Double A for me. Unless you want to create a new category that's just indie.
Yeah.
And then you have single A, which is like, as our one customer has been looking for, Bubsy Bobcat Paws on Fire for the PS4. That's a single A game because got a very limited release.
Although it's interesting that we're talking about this now with Square Enix. Square Enix is releasing a lot of Double A games. And I think they're all going to flop horribly because they're not marketing them at all. There's a new Valkyrie profile game coming out literally tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
No one knows it exists.
On a Thursday?
I guess so.
Games usually come out on Fridays nowadays.
It might be Friday, but it's coming out this week. But when I was doing box arts, like, the release dates, I noticed that a lot of Square Enix games came out like a day before Friday.
Huh.
So maybe they just decided to do Thursdays.
Why don't you take this?
But new Valkyrie profile is coming out. I don't see that doing well at all. They're also releasing Star Ocean 6, which again, I'm interested in because I love Star Ocean, but I think it's going to flop horribly.
Did Nier Automata do good?
Nier was a breakout success. That's definitely a Double A game, but that sold extremely well, like beyond their wildest expectations.
Speaking of release dates, just something silly with a game that's coming up. So God of War Ragnarok was originally set to come out on November 11th, which I think is a Friday as well, so it worked out. You know how it's like an easy-to-remember date, so it's like, when does this game come out? Oh yeah, 11/11, right? But Starfield was supposed to come out on November 11th, so Sony was absolute wusses and changed it to November 9th. And then, of course, Starfield got, like, delayed till whenever.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, but Sony, then at that point, you can't be like, all right, it's the 11th again.
Yeah.
Like, that's too much. So now it's coming out on the 9th. It's Sony's fault for thinking that Starfield was going to come out on time. Like, come on.
Hey, Cloud, you're just in time. The rules are easy.
I think
The person who we usually don't like.
for Elder Scrolls 6, the only thing that they've done, it's been 10 years since Skyrim, the only thing they've done is they have, like, a title screen. Like, they showed, like, a 10-second clip where it's like, Elder Scrolls 6.
It's not even in active development. That's blatantly obvious. Whoops. I'm showing off this minigame just because it's fun.
I think you did last time.
Yeah, but last time, we never... Okay, so one of the reasons why I wanted to take this break in the first place was that we did a part for this, but it had a... we recorded the audio wrong, and it was, like, doubled, but it was, like, beyond the parts that we uploaded, like, a couple weeks ago. It was, like, unlistenable. And I was like, man, I don't want to do that part again. And then I got in my head, I want to replay RE4 because at the time they just announced the remake existing.
Did we redo those parts or no? I kind of forget.
We're redoing it like right now.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's been months, so I know I have bad memory, but it has been months.
But the last time we did this, I didn't understand why I couldn't do Infinity's Edge or Infinity's End. But you actually have to equip the hard edge to actually do it for some reason. So this will be better.
You know, for the next Elder Scrolls game, you know what they should do? They should bring back Daggerfall and make things procedurally generated. That's always worked well with AAA games, right?
Well, they already kind of did it with Skyrim. They had the Radiant Quest system. It didn't, like, generate maps with an AI, but it did generate quests with an AI, and it was horrible.
Well, I mean, if you want infinite amount of stuff that's boring as all heck, okay. Like, if your idea of a good time is being like, fetch this, now fetch item X minus Y, now fetch item X minus Z, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could do that. You could write a script that's like, fetch item 1, Okay, fetch item 2. You know what I mean? Like, whatever they're in the system as. And then just have it loop. There you go. It's infinite quests.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Todd also just marketed hardcore for Skyrim. It's like, infinite quests! Yep, you sure can do infinite quests.
That's... I mean, there's a certain point, no matter how much you love a game, where it just gets, boring. Like, even something like, I don't know, World of Warcraft, eventually I would feel it would be like, well, I'm playing the same game with the same character 15 years later. Like, yes, they do a lot of expansions and stuff, but I don't know. What do you have to... Oh, yeah, nice. You're gonna get close to the personal best.
Possibly. Oh, yeah, I'm still 2,000 off. Man, I had a good high score. But still, that's how you get... I think the max score you can get is 50,000.
Nice, not bad. Completed.
Obviously, I already have everything already unlocked, but that's a cool little mini game. It's better than a generic side quest with recolored enemy, which is 99% of these side quests.
Wait, you said you haven't seen anyone do that before. Cloud did that before.
Getting late, huh?
You've been working so hard, you lost track of time.
Had to. The pay sucked.
Because they didn't know if you were worth it yet. But now
Also, they live in the slums. What
come on,
money do they
let's go
have?
home.
Yeah, what does he expect? I'm excited to see if, because, so, like, you know how God of War Ragnarok is coming out on both PS4 and PS5? Do you think the PS5 will have stuff like this, where it's obvious loading screens because of the SDD?
I think it's going to. Unfortunately, when, like, you're, like, making a AAA game with that amount of scope and budget, it's just not feasible to make 2 builds of the game. And especially for, like, you know, God of War, the first one for PS4, has so many hidden loading screens.
Right.
They're just gonna have to do it again. There's, like, no other way to do it. The PS4 is shackled by its physical hard drive.
Right.
Oh, right, we have to do this fight. Okay.
So, if it was just a PS5 build, it probably wouldn't have to, but
Alright,
since it's also coming out on PS4.
Here's another fight showing off how good Aeris is. Even beyond, way beyond that golem fight.
Who dis?
Pigeons.
Who dis? Yo.
Heh.
The,
Yeah, he's suave though.
Hello, Aaron.
the mixture of the very nice suit, but also those, like, chains on his right pocket is, interesting.
He's my bodyguard. If
I
you
think this
want
is
to know.
one, like, Nomura design where it's not, like, over the top, like, ridiculous. There's a little bit... I could probably do without 3 chains, maybe just 1 chain. But I think it looks nice.
I could do without all the chains. I think everything else is great. I can't imagine. What up? Okay, bye.
Cloud, leave him be. Rude's not a bad person, really.
No, I'm not bad. But like it or not, I sometimes have to do bad things. Don't take it personal.
Lee. What if the Buster Sword just broke in half?
That'd be awesome.
Oh!
Turks are all the same.
He's strong.
All bark. No bite.
You'll want to talk.
No need to get rough.
Do you think maybe he shouldn't wear those sunglasses if they keep, like, falling down his nose?
You can do it.
Second phase already. I just I cast Aura, and that cast twice, and he's so weak to it, it literally did half his health.
Holy crap. I, too, carry an extra pair of glasses with me.
Just stop.
Yeah.
Think about changing careers.
Is this gonna work? It did. I'm in the arcade ward. Okay. did not defend. Did a lot of damage.
Is there a third form?
No.
Is it weird that that's kind of a complaint of mine that, like, every boss has multiple forms? Like, I know people like that in general, but, like, it also makes it feel like every battle's scripted, if that makes sense?
It is a little bit, but because of how this game works, you can really steamroll bosses.
Just leave us alone.
You know how, like, classic Final Fantasy VII bosses, even, like, just the main playthrough, by the end, like, bosses might have, like, 6 digits of health. But in this game, it's just not the case at all. Like, enemy HP values are way down because magic is such a limited resource and your regular attacks don't do that much damage. The only way to really do, like, damage cap with, like, any character is either, like, Aeris with magic or, like, a limit break. And, like, you do, like, 1 limit break per battle no matter what. It is such a rare resource.
Got somewhere else to be?
That is true, whereas you can, like, get multiple limit breaks in the same boss battle. Like,
Yeah.
not even, like, an emerald weapon kind of thing. Like, just, like, a normal boss battle.
Yeah, especially if you're, like, not super overleveled. You might, like, limit break, like, 10 times per character. And you're not spamming Death Blow with Tifa.
God, I hope Deathblow hits on, what's the name of that boss? Demon's Gate? The one in, the ancient, Temple of the Ancients?
Yep.
I've watched so many FF7 speedruns to know that if you get past that, you're finishing your run.
Dude, one day I really want to, like, a while from now, like, if we're still LPing 5 years from now, I want to do a playthrough of FF7, that hack, Last Encounter, or whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah.
It looks so fun. And because we already did, like, an FF7 playthrough, I can just skip all the cutscenes. Maybe I can, like, make it in a way where I can just, like, make save states past cutscenes.
Yeah, the man, that's a tough mod, but very cool. It looks like they made like their own like bosses for it too.
Yeah, there's so many like mechanics. Like we've talked about this before, but FF7 is such a cool battle system, but you don't get the cool stuff until the game is literally 90% over.
So yeah, it was that kind
I can understand withholding like ridiculous stuff. Like some of the blue material in that game are like game breaking, and I can understand like hiding that away with just like Coliseum rewards, like stuff that you have to be like godly to get. But
Let's
a
go.
lot of the other stuff you should get earlier.
Hey, what do they say?
Good
Yeah,
work,
it's
guys.
that's so tough because if you give something godly too early, then the game's too easy. But
They didn't say a word.
you want to give something fun for it. It's kind of like Resident Evil Village with the mercenaries. Like,
Never mind.
I earned all those things that you get from S and double S and triple S and whatever, and I literally like played the game for 5 minutes afterwards with that like laser beam or whatever, and was like, "Yep." Like, I don't know. It's like really cool to earn,
Yeah.
but it's like, what am I gonna do? Play the whole game again when everything dies in one hit? Like, come on.
That's why I really like that this game has the hard mode is basically a new game plus. I think that is such a cooler way to do hard mode than just starting the game again from basics with nothing, and it's just artificially harder. So I really hope that Rebirth continues the new game plus thing.
What's Rebirth again?
Oh, like the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. It's called Rebirth.
Oh, is that the official? Oh,
Yeah, Final
cool.
Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Did they have an official date on that?
It's coming out next year, like holiday next year.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
They have a...
Yeah, whenever Square Enix announces a release date a year in advance, never take it seriously.
They have a Dirge of Cerberus... No. Crisis Core thing coming out.
Yeah. It's a really cheap remake, though. It essentially looks like the same exact game again, just with, like, better visuals, but not even close to, like, the PS4 version of this.
Yeah.
It honestly looks like an up-res, like, 60 FPS, like, PS3 mod.
Time to go.
It's cool, because Crisis Core has been rotting away in the PSP graveyard.
Whoa, there's a materia there.
Anything?
I totally need it.
Good work today?
I'm sure it's nothing.
That's the spirit.
Yo, can, I I know it's not like the same type of entertainment at all, but you were the one who wanted to go.
Yeah, seriously.
That's enough for one.
But can we take like 35 to 50% of all people working on like every goddamn TV show and movie that like just ends up on Prime or Shudder or Netflix and is just awful, and just move them to do something with video games, which take way longer to make? Like,
Great.
the problem right now is with like any like visual media, like movies or whatever, there's just literally too many choices. Like it's ridiculous because there's so much stuff
Yeah.
that's just put out all the time.
Although I think the big problem with like video game like productions versus like shows or movies is that a lot of shows made nowadays have like a guaranteed like profit margin because they just instantly sell it to like Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus, and like they'll just get, they know exactly the money they're gonna get, so they're just gonna churn out something, which is why like especially the last couple years like there's so many like terrible Netflix shows. Did you watch the new Resident Evil show that got canceled after one season?
I watched one episode and I could not.
It's like that is the epitome of like them just churning something out because it's a guaranteed profit. They had zero passion or originality behind it. It comes out, it is horrendous, and they're just like, whatever, people will forget, who cares.
It looks somewhat middle to high budget too, which was the weird thing. I was like, this looks pretty good, you know?
You know, there's all kinds of temptations in the big city.
I literally never knew Cloud's name was Claudia, or Cloud's mom's name was Claudia, by the way.
Really. I mean, she like shows up so briefly in the original.
I can take care of myself.
An older, more mature girl that could keep you on the straight and narrow and tell you when you're being a silly goose.
Cloud, you're being a
That's the
silly
perfect type
goose.
for you, I'd say.
But yeah, just take all the people doing that and put them on, like, I don't know, like QA testing or just something that doesn't require, like, ridiculous amount of knowledge. I'm certain there's a lot of grunt things to do, you know, that, like, legit anyone could do.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the man hours that need to be put in. So that way, it's easier to actually find a show or movie or whatever to watch when there's not 500,000 choices. And they all suck.
Yeah. I mean, we're in the midst of the streaming wars. There's so many platforms that just want to make content for content's sake, just to be like, hey, look, it's on our streaming service. Let's bring back Futurama for the 4th time.
So,
Really?
Yeah, they're bringing back Futurama.
Ah!
Again, it got canceled 3 times.
Let it die.
It's being streamed on Hulu. I think it's coming out next year. They're bringing back they just brought back Animaniacs.
That's fine because it's
Yeah.
been like 30 years.
Although one that might be good is that they're bringing back Tiny Toons.
Ooh. What's that? Oh, Disney Plus?
I have no
Is that a Disney thing? No. No?
It's Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah, which is HBO Max?
I guess so.
Yeah, because CIB employee Ben was butthurt that they were like taking a bunch of stuff off HBO Max because Warner Brothers bought it and instantly canceled like a billion things. They canceled like every Adult Swim thing possible. And remember, they canceled that Batwoman movie, even though it was literally made. All
Yeah.
they would have to do is just be like, "Here you go."
Yeah, even just if you didn't have any like confidence in it, like not bombing in the box office, just put on HBO Max. That's guaranteed money, even if you're still taking a loss. It's better than canceling it.
I still have a tough time understanding the macroeconomics of like a Netflix that is like, okay, yeah, it's, I don't know, I forget what it is, $10-15 a month. And like, sure, a ton of people subscribe to the service, but they're like constantly churning out these shows. And like, some of them are pretty big budget, like Stranger Things or Ozark or whatever. But there's a lot of other stuff too, so I'm like, how do they make any money? Like, just with all the stuff they're constantly churning out.
I don't know. I mean, you could say that they might not be making money, and they're doing things to make stockholders happy, to keep stocks.
Probably.
Yeah.
I wish they would just do it where they spent some money on getting good older movies, right? Like, I don't know, Back to the Future and stuff like that. You know? and then make like a couple good shows that you'd be like, oh, this show's cool. Like their first show, House of Cards, when it came out, was like, oh man, this is really well made.
By the way, I gotta say,
It's so nice.
I think when this game is in daylight, for whatever reason, it looks kind of 50-50. Like sometimes looks alright, sometimes looks bad. But when it's at night, this game looks great.
Oh yeah.
And that's
Or maybe take 20% of people making documentaries. Holy crap. I like documentaries, but like every single subject, every single person's making a documentary on it. Like, I don't need my 40th Jeffrey Dahmer documentary or John Wayne Gacy. They literally released another John Wayne Gacy documentary. And I understand, it's relatively easy to do. You just talk to someone and then put video and then have a narrator, but like, come on. Stop it.
Yeah, there's some like really prolific directors that do that. You know, like Peter Jackson.
They're two.
He just does nothing but documentaries for the past like almost 10 years.
There are two separate documentaries on Woodstock '99. Like, was it interesting? Yeah. Was it a crazy bad thing that happened? Like just like a bad event? Yeah. But do we need two separate documentaries on it within like 6 months? Come on. Also, let us know, question of the part, what's your favorite act at Woodstock '99, and why was it unironically Kid Rock? And unironically, number 2 was Limp Bizkit. When they played the song Break Stuff, everybody was literally breaking stuff, like all the fans, and like knocking over radio towers and stuff like that. And some guy had to come out and tell them that they couldn't play anymore because the crowd was just too much into like a fervor. And number 3 was Korn. It was the way that they scheduled it was really weird. Like, everyone was super hyped for Korn the first night, and then like right after Korn they had Jewel come out. Like, it's just really, like, I can kind of understand where they're going with it. Like, you want someone to, like, calm them down after Korn. But for me, it would just be like, yo, the thing they're most excited for, just end with that. Because then afterwards, they're just going to be exhausted.
It's been like this, you know?
It's literally what they do in wrestling. The main event is the thing that people are most excited for. Like, you can't have an excellent match and then be like, oh yeah, here's this match after it. You're like, dude, I'm freaking exhausted.